This somehow managed to bounce out and drop to the ground, and the end that connects this to the tractor fell out in the road. Fortunately, when I went down to the John Deere dealership down in Kansas City, the part that I thought I would have to assemble was already assembled. So that pretty much just left me with assembling the U-joint and putting the whole thing back together. I can probably go maybe a little bit more there, so there's a little gap right there.
Oh, it's almost there. A little bit farther.
So I've concluded that these John Deere U-joints are forged straight from the fires of hell, because that's pretty much what it sums up, to put these things on and off. Now you might be half tempted to think that it's the specific new U-joint, that maybe they got it wrong. I edited out all of the other U-joint struggle, but the original U-joint that was on there, I actually did try to take apart to get the shaft off. And that was literally 4 hours of me trying to hammer it out. It was that bad. And then it took another 3 hours to hammer it back in, because I got it part way out on one side, but not far enough to actually pop the U-joint. Now I gotta take it down to Eric's work and have it professionally pressed on their machine. But first, I'm going to take it back apart and make sure that none of the pins fell with all of the hammering, which in hindsight, I don't think I would ever recommend hammering these things, because the pins just fall everywhere. I know the trick about lining the pins with grease, and honestly they had been lined with grease, so I didn't think I needed to put more grease in there, but maybe I will try that. Additionally, another tip I found online was lubricating the inside, not with grease, but with transmission fluid. Oddly enough, they were lining the inside of these shafts with transmission fluid to help it slide in. So I think that's something that I'm going to try. I'm going to pull them back apart and then try lining them with transmission fluid. It's worth a shot. Fits perfect.
Like the diameter?
That's good. Yep. It's definitely this needs to be cleaned out and that went in?
Mm-hmm.
Does it turn okay?
So. I know it's not quite in, like.
Maybe it's tight because it needs grease?
Could be. You're gonna have to do that crank thing.
So at this point, Eric pretty much threw in the towel and told me to take it to John Deere and see if they can press it in. Okay, since our second part is not in at John Deere yet, and I really need this thing put together, we're taking another shot at Eric's work because I had nothing else at home to use. So one thing that Eric was noticing this morning is the fact that the U-joint that they gave us, well, the shaft, this is the main shaft right here. This was the specialized part that fell out. This is slightly off from this U-joint here. So I don't know if you can tell, but these two sides are lined up and this one's in just a little bit. So it wasn't like that we janked it up or anything. Like this one was in the vise. This one I would expect to be like slightly off crooked possibly, but Eric tried to get U-joint in and it was not lining up. So that's pretty significant. So it appears to be a defective part on John Deere's end, and unfortunately I can't wait another week for this part because I have to cut hay this week. So I argued that we should just try to put the U-joint in first and see if we can somehow get the U-joint to fit. And just for the record, these parts were all ordered by John Deere. They were in their manual as far as the parts needed for this particular shaft. So it wasn't like I just ran around grabbing parts. They actually looked them up and said this is what we need. So we shall give it a shot. We did not try it on the other one, so hoping.
Mm-hmm.
So we're hoping.
You just that with it, like not wanting to go in means it's too tight.
So it just does not want to go in.
It's because it's crooked. See how they're growing crooked?
So we're deciding to call it quits before we completely damage the U-joint. You got this side in flat, but it's not inserted in. This keeps wanting to torque downward. It's just not cast straight, so it's pretty nearly impossible to get the U-joint in there. So Eric's gonna try and bend it back apart a little bit. The only problem is it's cast. And cast items tend to not want to do that. The downside, of course, is if this cracks or breaks, they're pretty much screwed.
It's got to go a little bit more.
It's a lot better now.
Yeah, it's a lot better. I might be able to work with that.
I figured if this works, great, but if it doesn't work and it breaks, then we can't try anything else.
I think it needs to go a little bit more though.
I mean, obviously this is the easiest option, but also the most dangerous.
I honestly think it needs to go more. That one.
What?
We'll do a little bit.
So we're able to get it bent back in place a little bit better, but it's still not where it really needs to be. So we're gonna let John Deere hopefully do the rest of it.
It's pretty close.
It's better.
A lot better. Way better. Way, way, way better.
Alright, so I just got done talking with the service desk guys or parts department guys at Greenmark Equipment. Anyway, shout out to both you guys. Thank you so much for your help, for working with me on this. So pretty much they were willing to replace the U-joint cross member free of charge, which was very nice of them. They also measured it and they found out that the part was in fact defective. Even after Eric had gone through and spread it apart, it still would not be wide enough to accept the cross member. So they're going to order a new part from the factory and possibly see if they can get my part to work, the one that I gave them, and try and make it all right, I guess. So it's not their fault. And as far as my cutter bar, that was supposed to be delivered Saturday, and then it was supposed to be Monday, and then it was supposed to be, I guess, tomorrow. That wasn't their fault. It was the routing department through John Deere basically decided that my part didn't need to arrive when they planned on it arriving and kept throwing it on different trucks. So like I said, Greenmark Equipment, they've really done their best to help me out. Hopefully the next update I will have, it will all be put together and it will work. Alright, so how hard was this thing to put together?
This one was much easier than the last one. There must have been a factory defect on that one that made it a lot more extensive project. This one went right together. So.
What'd you guys use to put it together? Did you use like a press or did you just hammer it?
Nope, just a bench vise, nothing too extreme.
Really?
Yeah.
So you put the caps on either end and then just vise it together? Did you put like a little socket on either side to
We did
push
use
it?
a socket to help press it together. This end that you had previously installed, that went together just fine. It was this yoke that must have been on the first one a 1/4 inch too narrow,
Yeah.
so that's why you guys were fighting with it so bad. But fortunately, it does happen from time to time. Stuff slips through the quality control.
It's a cast, yeah.
Well, we'll get you built out and back to the field.
Awesome.